A final destructive battle or conflict. The site or time of a final and conclusive battle between the forces of good and evil. The battle taking place at Armageddon. A usually vast, decisive conflict or confrontation. We are in the war of Armageddon at this very moment. It is us being information warriors to try to get this information out here. We ain't keyboard warriors. We ain't arguing to know. We're trying to give you the information where you can find it for yourself so that you will be able to take your light of understanding and use it for the betterment of yourself and your family. Disaster preparedness. If it's a final destructive battle, that means after that there is no more war. Disaster, but you have to ask yourself, what is a disaster? Because maybe you don't understand what I'm explaining to you after the warfare. There will be, if you ever think about a theater of war, think about it after effects. But disaster can also be other things. Something as such as a flood, tornado, fire, a plane crash that happens suddenly and causes much suffering or loss to many people. Something that has a very bad effect or result. A complete or horrible failure. Obsolete and unfavorable aspect of a planet or a star. A sudden calamitous event bringing great damage, loss, or destruction. Broadly, a sudden or great misfortune or failure. Apocalypse, calamity, catastrophe, a tragedy are some of the synonyms. Disaster, apocalypse. What is an apocalypse? A great disaster, a sudden and very bad event that causes much fear, loss, or destruction. Okay, Armageddon. That is also a part of this apocalypse and this disaster, because you have to think about the after effects of this theater of war. What is going to happen? Apocalypse. The full definition says one of the Jewish and Christian writings of 200 BC to 150 AD, marked by pseudonymity, symbolic imagery, and the expectation of an imminent cosmic cataclysm in which God destroys the ruling powers of evil and raises the righteous to life in a messianic kingdom. Capitalized, revelation. Something viewed as a prophetic revelation. Armageddon, a great disaster. Revelation. Usually secret or surprising fact that is made known. An act of making something known. An act of revealing something in a usually surprising way. Something that surprises you. An act of revealing or communicating divine truth. Something that is revealed by God to humans. An act of revealing to view or making known. Something that is revealed, especially an enlightening or astonishing disclosure, shocking revelations, a pleasant, often enlightening surprise. An apocalyptic writing addressed to early Christians of Asia Minor and included as a book in the New Testament, called also Apocalypse. See the Bible table. So, what does the book of Revelations mean? My husband talked about this and the fear factor of the preachers. And this also ties into the fear factor of the preachers. Because you can't go to a church nowadays and talk about preachers getting their congregations riled up and ready for disaster preparedness, where they're teaching them to stock up water, teaching them how to cook the correct foods, and teach them about staple goods, so just in case anything happened, that they'll be able to provide for themselves and fend for themselves and their families. You don't hear that nowadays too often. You don't go to a church and hear about a preacher preaching about what was prophesied in Revelation and what is being played out right here in our face today, because the preachers they know what's going on, but they're afraid to speak on what's going on because they think they'll lose their Uncle Tom status with their old masters. they'll lose their influence or whatever that they have, and they'll just feel like, oh, their life is over. And it is already, because they feel like if they told the truth, it would be over. And since they're concealing the truth, a lot of them are concealing the truth. They are not telling their congregations what's going on, what's happening now, how everything that you can go back and read Revelation and look at events and play out Revelation verse by verse, chapter by chapter here in present day. You don't have too many preachers speaking on the apocalypse and, the war of Armageddon and the book of Revelation being played out. You don't have too many preachers talking about anything pertaining to this disaster that is at hand, that is coming. We may not see it at this moment, but are you going to wait until it's absolutely too late to start trying to gather things to save you and your family? Are you going to wait until it's absolutely too late to start trying to prepare and get water and staple goods and like the canned goods and, rice and things like, candles and flashlights and stuff like that? Are you going to wait until it's absolutely too late and then you're looking like a scavenge? Or are you going to take this information and are you going to do what you need to do to make sure that you are abiding by what you need to do so that you can pass this information on to others and teach them how they can do what they need to do so that we can all be more productive as a people? Because if we don't talk about the apocalypse, the Revelation and Armageddon, if we don't talk about what is happening right before our eyes, if we don't talk about this spiritual warfare, if we don't talk about disaster preparedness, if we don't talk about the crash of the dollar, if we don't talk about the fall of America, if we don't talk about the consequences that America will pay for her for her actions toward her once black slave, if we don't talk about this, if we don't bring it up, then how can we hurl truth at falsehood? It needs to be the main topic of discussion, the fear factor of these preachers, how we are not doing what we should be doing, how these preachers are not they're preparing their congregations for what is going on, the apocalyptic events and things like that. I mean, stop being spooky, brothers and sisters. We are at war with the demons. Because think about how many days you sit here and fight with your conscience about what is right and what is wrong. Those are demons battling each other. Your demon and your spirit battling each other. And if you don't stop to think, what can I do to prepare myself and my children after what I'm listening to this sister and this brother is talking about putting on the whole armor of Allah, living the life of righteousness. And you heard what it said in the definition of apocalypse. One of the Jewish and the Christian writings marked by pseudonymity, symbolic imagery, and the expectation of an imminent cosmic cataclysm in which God destroys the ruling powers of evil and raises righteous to life in the messianic kingdom. This is the kingdom of the hereafter that I have been talking about, brothers and sisters. This is the kingdom of the hereafter, the kingdom of the righteous, God coming to bring about. So in order for a new kingdom to be built, we have to destroy the old one. We have to trust in Allah that if we are to be the new builders of a new kingdom, we have to be able to clear away the rubbish of the old. Stop being spooky and be real. Stop being spooky and use your vision. Take this ghost-like mentality and clear it away and look at how you can benefit yourselves by taking the spittle off of your eyes and using your vision and using your imagination and putting it into use. So submitting your will to do the will of Almighty God Allah, so that you can be able to speak into existence the things that you want to have. But until then, you have to take off this old man and be willing to put on the new. And you have to be prepared for the disaster that is coming by putting on the whole armor of God and being war ready. If you're not war ready, then you won't be prepared for the disaster, and disaster will overcome you and your family. And then after you're dead physically, you have no chance at having life and having life more abundantly. But I'll be back in just a moment, brothers and sisters, talk with the topic of what's in the go bag, disaster preparedness, and things to have in your home in case of emergency. I thank you all for listening as I greet you with the greeting words of peace of Assalamu alaikum.